Hello, you're welcome to our channel, and this actually is the last in our series on the law of agency. Today we'll be looking at termination of the agency relationship. It is interesting to note that everything that has a beginning must have an end. So even the agency relationship, whether it be beautiful, whether it be not beautiful, but because it does have a point of beginning, it does also have a point of end. Today we'll be looking at the ways by which an agency can be brought to an end. And there are basically two major ways by which the agency relationship can be brought to an end. And these ways are either by an act of the parties or by the operation of the law. In other words, it means that in whatever way that the agency relationship is coming to an end, that end was orchestrated either by an act done by the parties themselves to bring that relationship to an end, or it was by an act occasioned by the law to bring that agency relationship to an end. We will now begin by looking at the various acts that parties to an agency relationship, whether they be the agent or the principal, can do in order to bring an agency relationship to an end. Basically, there are about three ways by which the parties can bring an agency relationship to an end. And these ways are: one, by agreement; two, by revocation; and three, by renunciation. We'll begin by looking at the first of which is termination by agreement. Subject to the principle of irrevocable authority, an agency relationship may be determined or terminated by the parties by agreement. Under this situation, the agent and the principal mutually together agree that the agency relationship should be brought to an end when it is no longer beneficial to them, or it no longer suits the purpose for which they instituted the agency relationship in the first instance. The agreement to terminate the agency relationship may be incorporated into the original agreement which created that agency relationship, or it may be made at some later date. You see the authority of this in the case of NIDP versus Olalomi. Citation supplied. We go to 2, which is termination by revocation. Another method of termination of agency relationship by the act of the parties is by way of revocation of the authority of the agent by the principal. So revocation can be done by the principal, where the principal revokes or withdraws the authority the agent had to act on his behalf. You see the authority on this in the same NIDB versus Olalomi citation also supplied. And the third act that can be done by one of the parties is renunciation. Renunciation is also the preserve of an agent. An agent can renounce his agency relationship from the principal, and by so renouncing it, he withdraws himself from acting as the principal's agent. You also see that on the case of NIDB versus Olalomi Supra. We will now go to termination by operation of law. This is different from termination by an act of the parties because it is not done by an act of the parties. It's not the parties that did something to bring the relationship to an end. Instead, it is the law that is operating to bring that agency relationship to an end. And there are quite a number of ways in which the law can operate to bring an agency relationship to an end. There are 6 of such ways, and they are: 1, by performance; 2, by death of either of the parties. 3. By insanity of either of the parties. 4. By frustration or change in circumstance. 5. By effluxion of time. And finally, by the bankruptcy of the principal. So we'll begin by looking at the first, which is by performance. How does the law bring an end to the agency relationship? By performance. If the authority of an agent was given to achieve a specific result or objective, it is natural that such authority will terminate upon achieving that result or achieving that objective or object. Thus, it has been held that the authority of a solicitor engaged to prosecute a particular case ceases at judgment in that case. Similarly, if the authority of an agent was given to perform a specific task or carry out a specific transaction, his authority will automatically end when he has accomplished the task or he has completed the transaction. You will see this in a plethora of authorities. Some of these are the cases of Blackburn versus Skull, and you will see the citation supplied on our screen. In this particular case, Lord Ellensborough held that a broker who was engaged to sell goods became functus officio when those goods were sold. Another way by which the law operates to bring to an end an agency relationship is by the death of either of the parties, whether that party is the principal or that party is the agent. Where an agent or a principal dies, a dead person cannot continue to engage in contractual relationship. As you all know, an agency relationship is a contractual relationship. So a dead person cannot be subject of a contract. Therefore, when the principal or the agent dies, the agency relationship must, as of a necessity, be brought to an end. Finally, the matter of the bankruptcy of the principal. An agent relationship will be terminated where the principal is bankrupt. When a principal is bankrupt, he no longer has the capacity to enter into any contract at all, including the contract of agency relationship. So a principal is said to be bankrupt where he does not have enough money to pay his debt. It is gratifying to know that bankruptcy of the agent does not, however, operate to terminate an agency relationship. Now, you will be wondering, why is it that the bankruptcy of the agent does not operate to bring the agency relationship to an end? Because the agent ordinarily does not act upon his own capacity. He acts upon the capacity of the principal. So it's the capacity of the principal that is an issue and not that of the agent. That's why the incapacity of the principal incapacitates the agent, but the incapacity of the agent does not incapacitate him or incapacitate the principal, so to speak. With that, we have come to the end of this subtopic today, and in fact come to the end of our series on the law of agency. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you for being on this channel with us, and if you have any remarks to give us, it will help us. We need the feedback to work on improving these videos for you. So we'd like to see your comments in the comment section. And if you have enjoyed this video in any way at all, kindly do click on the like button and subscribe so that you get more videos from us as they come. Thank you so much. Till next time, I am Nwese. Thank you.